All right, let's see. Okay, we're not gonna do Kyle beats right now. Ooh, I don't know. AP mastering. Let's try this one out.
Plus a bunch of...
Okay. Oh, dude. This like ratio, dude. Whew. This like ratio. People are not feeling it. They're not feeling it. I mean, you can kind of expect this though. If you're doing a tier list on anything, especially something that's controversial and like not agreed upon as as other things such as DAWs, yeah, you're gonna get bombed hard on this. I think that's probably why he's wearing this. He's trying to protect himself from the bombing. You see the dislikes on YouTube via there's an extension called Return YouTube Dislikes. It's not 100% accurate though. All right, yeah, obviously the best answer is whatever works best for you. That's the most accurate answer.
Ableton Live, Logic, FL Studio, Pro Tools, Reason. We're going to go through a whole bunch of DAWs in today's video. Basically all of the relevant DAWs, and I'm going to rank them and tell you which ones I recommend, the pros and cons. So let's get into it. First up, Ableton Live, Max MSP integration. Boom, amazing. Excellent MIDI support and some great stock plugins. So
Okay, I mean, he's right so far.
Ableton Live gets a thumbs up from me.
I can't say I know all of these, so I can go based off of features, but I haven't used all of them.
So although Ableton Live can be fantastic for creating electronic music, you can't really push it much further than that.
Well, I think like the thing that's really good about Ableton is more so the mixing. Like if you want to do like a live set and you want to mix like all your songs and like have like loops coming in and out and like you're like playing some of them, maybe play the keys on some of them, that's really what's good about Ableton.
Often people bounce their music out of stems and mix it somewhere else. You're definitely not going to be doing any mastering in Ableton Live. It's just not the program of choice for that.
But why? What's wrong? Like, what's wrong with mastering Ableton Live?
But for production, it's pretty good. So
you gotta give you gotta say why. You can't say something like that and then not say why. This guy's a king of rage bait too. We're just going all out in rage bait tonight, guys. Why can't you master in Ableton? Like, is there like some sort of limitation or something? Workflow could be a lot better. Does that really matter for mastering? Mastering is not, you don't gotta do, like, how much shit are you doing in mastering that you're worried about workflow?
So I'm gonna give it an A rating. Next up, FL Studio. It's come a lot.
Okay, I already know where he's putting this, and I don't even use FL Studio, and I disagree. I disagree hard, and I don't even use that shit.
Long way since I started using it.
Like, another thing, sorry to keep pausing, but like, just the fact that he's not including price in this discussion is like, come on now.
On version 3. Back then, you didn't even have audio tracks or a proper mixer or anything. Now you've got a lot of comprehensive tools, so it's come a long way from just a basic beat making kind of fun thing. It's really evolved into a bit more of a fully fledged DAW. But saying that, it's still a bit limited. No one's really going to be doing any serious professional mixing and mastering in FL Studio. You're not going to be...
Yeah, dude, does he really believe this, or is this like just rage bait?
Doing that kind of stuff.
Because you can do it just like pretty much in any DAW.
You're normally going to be bouncing it out of Fruity Loops and putting it into something more serious to mix it down. And especially for mastering, I don't know any professional mastering engineers using Fruity Loops as their DAW of choice. And saying that, the full version to get all the plugins...
I mean, while that's true, it's still capable, you know? I feel like you'd have to, like, I know I already saw, like, the tier list ratings, and I think he gives FL Studio, like, a B rating or something. And personally, I think it should go higher than that just because the price is so low.
And stuff. It's actually a bit on the expensive side. So
But you don't have to pay for an update ever. Plus, Ableton is, like, just as much, dude. What the fuck, dude? I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm taking crazy pills.
I think FL Studio's pretty good, especially if you're into making electronic music. A lot of hip-hop guys use it.
Electronic music, I mean, yeah, you can, but I feel like it's usually it's the beat guys, the internet money beat guys.
A lot of electronic music, people who are loop-based, sample-based stuff, it's a really good choice. I'm going to give it a B. Next up, the native Apple DAW, Logic. But some people might not know that Logic wasn't actually made by Apple, it was actually made by eMagic. And I was using Logic 5.5 when it was still run by eMagic. And it was an absolutely serious choice of a DAW back in the day. Such a solid MIDI sequencer and pristine audio quality. A lot of people who were using other tools to compose with, like Fruity Loops or Reason or something like this, they would bounce it.
Yeah, he looks like he's about to drop the hardest diss track of all time right now.
Out of that, I use Rewire to go into Logic and get a serious mix down using Logic. So it has always been a very serious sequencer, and Apple,
Anybody who says Logic the way he does is very serious about Logic.
Maintained a high quality standard. That said, I think there's some major drawbacks to using Apple Logic in my personal opinion. Now, I used to be a Logic user back in the day, but I long since ditched it and moved to another DAW that I'm going to be talking about later in the list. Now, in my personal opinion, the way that Apple makes software is they want to remove all of the sharp edges, make it look beautiful, make it intuitive, so that the most amount of users...
Guys, is that beautiful? I feel like most DAWs just kind of look the same to me. Like, there's no real, like, perfect looking DAW. Where the fuck is it? I can't even fucking find it anymore. Jesus Christ.
Make it look beautiful.
There it is. You know, like, is it really perfect? I don't know. I don't think there's a perfect looking DAW.
Make it intuitive so that the most amount of users are going to get on with it and have fun using their software. And that is great. And I think that's a really good business mentality to have, and their design is exceptional. However, for the more advanced users, I feel like there's not a lot of advanced features and things that really are necessary for the power users, the advanced users. Now, this is sort of similar to some other pro level software in their lineup. So Final Cut Pro, for example, they used to have a really decent ripple edit based linear timeline. And then they...
What? I must have missed something. Why are we talking about Final Cut Pro right now?
Scrap that in favor of a storyline thing, which is just, in my opinion, oversimplified and terrible if you want to do anything more advanced than just, I don't know, some simple video editing. So they've really dumbed down Final Cut Pro, and so I ditched that and moved to DaVinci Resolve. So
Why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this? I'm so confused right now. I wish you put chapters on this.
Gripe with it. If you use it and get on with it, then I think that it's a really cool DAW anyway. The problem is just about how it's not really there for the more advanced user. But otherwise, it's a perfectly fine DAW, and I've given it a B rating. Pro Tools.
What are you guys thinking about that? Sony Vegas is the best? Yeah, if you like crashing constantly.
It used to be the industry standard workhorse software.
Ew, absolutely disgusting.
Where in all recording studios that was...
Yeah, I don't think you can show that on YouTube, man. That's disgusting.
Serious. Nowadays, I feel like the way that they've gone with Avid, with their corporate business model and their subscription-based stuff, and they've only got AAX plugins, you can't even load a VS...
I mean, my hate for Pro Tools stems from... Well, when I had to use it in school, it was like overly complex. Like I felt like there were so many ways they could have minimized it to make it more user friendly. And then on top of that, the pricing, are they still doing the monthly pricing thing? I'm pretty sure they are. I don't know.
AU plugin in Pro Tools. As far as I'm aware, that's not because of any technical reasons. That's just some weird corporate Avid decision to exclude developers and gatekeep their own personal plugin format, along with...
Okay, he's actually right here.
Pace, anti-piracy, and do this weird gatekeepery corporate stuff, which I just don't really like at all. The whole thing seems like bloated and slow and excessively big to install. I just don't really get it nowadays. It used to be good back in the day, but times have changed and there's much more advanced, better DAWs available for less money.
Definitely more advanced if you're looking for, tools for making beats for sure, or just better. I think for audio engineering, I mean, for the most part, I don't see how it's not covering everything you need.
Just work better, they're less bloated, less corporate, weird, greedy,
I agree, it's bloated.
Kept vibes. I don't know, I just don't really like it that much. If you were starting from scratch, I just don't see why you would choose Pro Tools as your DAW. I'm going to give it a C. Cubase. Back in the 90s, either you were a Cubase user or a Logic user. There were some other things that you could use on the market, but they were the two major market leaders. And it's always had a good reputation. A lot of people have used it. I used it for a couple of years back in the day, and there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's very mature technology. The audio is pristine. You can get very high quality results in there, and I know people who use it even for mastering, professional mixing.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, he says he hasn't used it in years, but can you expect somebody to have used all of these DAWs like within the past year or two? I don't know.
You can do everything in it. It's a very high quality, mature piece of software. However, it's sort of ugly in my personal opinion. It's sort of expensive in my personal opinion. and it's not that exciting. It just doesn't excite me. It is very...
Does he not know that FL Studio has like free updates? Because he just used the same argument for FL Studio, but FL Studio, you don't got to pay for it ever again after that.
Be sensible, and if you use it, I think it's a great piece of software, but I don't know, it's a bit expensive and a bit ugly for my personal taste, but I'm going to give it a B rating. Reason. So I started on Propellerhead Reason version 1.
No fucking way, dude. I started on Reason 4, and that was like, I messed with FL Studio for like a minute before that, but like, very briefly. Who are the Reason heads in the chat? Who were the Reason heads in the chat? Reason's a DAW? Yeah, sadly. I mean, Reason... Dude, there's something good about Reason, you know, but there's also something horribly awful about Reason at the same time. Like, if it wasn't for Reason, I wouldn't have started using Ableton
back in the day, and you could turn it round and patch in the patch cables, and that was absolutely amazing, and it looked absolutely sick back in the day. The graphics were amazing compared to a lot of the other competition at the time. It just looked phenomenal. It was like, wow, this is like something out of the future.
No, it's like a nerdy ugly chick, but she knows like every fucking reference you're making, you know, like when it comes to like video games, music, everything. Like it's the nerdy ugly chick. It's not the hot, what did you say, hot dumb chick? No, that's the hot dumb chick is like FL Studio. I would say FL Studio is probably the hot dumb chick. Yeah, like way too nerdy, but you're like also like, damn, like she gets like everything I'm saying, like this is kind of hot, but also like, damn, like put a paper bag on that shit. That's Reason. What's the reason for using Reason? It's just a completely different workflow, and like I would say the synths have like their own sort of sound. They sound very dry, but it's also like I really liked it for sound design.
How is this even possible that you can patch in these cables and it all looks 3D, and it was so cool? And of course it was a bit limited back then. You didn't really have audio tracks or anything. If you wanted to have any audio in there, you'd have to chuck it into the redrum thing and then trigger it on the redrum and do all sorts of tricks to get around that, so you could put some record.
I mean, one thing I really liked about Reason when I started out was like just like the routing, like with the combinator patches. Like it just felt so cool to be able to like program shit in there. But realistically, you can do the same thing in most DAWs.
Putting in there, maybe you wanted a vocal in your track or something, then you have to do it like that. A lot of people back then, they were using Logic in tandem with Reason, using Rewire to pipe the audio into Logic, and then you could sync it up.
I was doing that with Ableton.
And then you could add your vocals or whatever audio tracks in Logic. So that was also another approach that you could use back in the day. But since then, it's got a lot better, a lot more comprehensive, and now you can actually work with audio in Reason. So it's absolutely phenomenal now how it's improved. However, it's similar in kind to Fruity Loops, right? FL Studio, Fruity Loops, back in the day it was a similar kind of thing. It's a beat making tool. It's really cool for making electronic beats, but can you really push that into professional mixing and mastering? I would say not really.
Maybe back then, but I mean now it's definitely capable now. I mean, I don't know when the last time he used it was. I don't know, bro. I gotta disagree with that. I mean, I used it all the way up to like Reason 10 or something.
I'd say the type of people who are going to be using Reason are going to be bouncing out their stems or using Rewire to pipe that into another.
I will say I did do that up to a point though. That's why I started using Ableton. They didn't have VST support. Like at I don't remember what version it was, 5 or 6 or something. They didn't have VST support, so I started using Ableton too, and that's how I switched over, because I was just like, shit, why don't I just use these things? I don't use Reason. What was my reason for using Reason? The people I knew that made beats in real life were using Reason. And then like I was just messing with it, and I was like, oh, this seems kind of cool. And it made more sense to me than FL Studio.
Like Logic or something, and get a professional mix down in there and do mastering it in another DAW or send it off to be mastered. No one's really going to be using this DAW to do composition, mixing and mastering at a professional level, in my personal opinion. That said, I never got the vibe from Reason that he was trying to do absolutely everything and be a tool for professional mastering.
No, it is now. Well, I mean, professional mastering, that's debatable. Like, but okay, I thought the internet dropped for a second. It scared me. Is that him or me? The fuck? Just got a Windows sound effect. Thought I turned those shits off.
So it's a bit NA in terms of that.
Wait, that can't be him. He has a fucking Mac. What the hell, dude?
So I'd still give it a solid B rating. Studio One. Now, there's a lot of people who like this software. I think it looks just fine. There's a bunch of really cool stock plugins. It can do pretty much everything that you want a DAW to do. It looks just fine for composition, mixing, and there's even an integrated mastering page, which looks interesting. That said, I'm not entirely convinced by that mastering page. It looks cool, but it looks a bit too prosumer for me. It doesn't look something like a professional level tool that I could use for my job as a mastering engineer.
Bro, the craziest thing about this is, I already spoiled it here, he puts Reaper in S tier. And he's talking about the way it looks. Now, I know you can customize Reaper, but like when you first open up Reaper, and if you open up those stock devices, you're gonna go fucking blind, all right? You're gonna go fucking blind. Now, don't get me wrong, like Reaper's good. It is good. It is also affordable. It's definitely good shit. But, I mean, just for the reasoning he's giving, the Reapering he's giving.
If you use Studio One and get on with it, well, as I say, I think it looks just fine. It just doesn't excite me that much. I think it's very solid, and I would give it a B rating. Bitwig Studio, they used to be the new kid on the block, but now they've been out for a few years. They've got some really cool features. They've got full clap support because they're partly behind the clap format, and they've got VST support and all the plugins that you want they've got, but they've even got some...
Yeah, I could have guessed he was a Reaper. I could have guessed that. He looks like a Reaper.
Really cool stock plugins, and one of the craziest features that I've seen is that parameter modulation page that you can do. You can modulate...
Yeah, Bitwig, I mean, honestly, like if you can get used to Bitwig from Ableton, I mean, like I only tried a little bit, but just from what it's capable of, it should be S tier, in my opinion. Like, I honestly think it's a little better than Ableton, and I feel like that's not really that controversial of a take, right? Do people agree with about that? It just seemed like... It seems like it's better.
Anything from anywhere with LFOs and all sorts of stuff. It looks absolutely fantastic for composition. That said, where it's still relatively new compared to some of these other DAWs from the 90s, it's less mature and there's some features that are still lacking, like advanced rendering capabilities. It's completely lacking from Bitwig, and I just couldn't use the software. There's also no scripting, no...
Wait, hold on. Advanced rendering capabilities, like what? You can stem split, right? Like what does he mean specifically? Then the scripting thing, like, so you basically need Reaper essentially. Audio routing issue and Bitwig holding it back. Okay. Yeah, see, I don't really know. I've like barely messed with Bitwig.
There's a few things that are just not there yet, and so I don't think I could switch to it because the work that I do, I just couldn't do in Bitwig yet. But if they were to integrate some of these more advanced features, it would be something that I would consider switching to. That makes it
Come on, A.
quite difficult to rank, but I'm going to go for an A rating. Next up,
Agreed.
Reaper. This is my idea.
I mean, personally, I would put them in S. I would put Ableton, FL Studio. I'd put like most of them in S, dude. Like, except for Pro Tools. Pro Tools would be like at the bottom or something. Like, I mean, I haven't used Cubase and Logic, so I don't really know those two. My one main gripe with FL Studio is I don't like the workflow. For me personally, it feels like a little clunky. I'm sure like plenty of people get used to it, but it also seems like it's one of the fastest for like making beats too. Pro Tools has AIDS. Pro Tools is terminal. Oh, reason I put in S tier. I'd probably put in like C or B because they just haven't kept up with the times. They're just not efficient anymore. Well, I mean, what do you mean anymore? Ever? They were never efficient, but like, you know, comparing them to the modern alternatives, it's just like, ugh. You want me to plug this in the sidechain? That's gross, dude.
DAW of choice, and this is what I use for my job on a daily basis as a professional mastering engineer. There's absolutely nothing that comes close to Reaper in terms of it.
Yeah, he was way too excited to get the Reaper. I feel like FL Studio doesn't have autosave. Ooh. Maybe you got to pay for that update.
Capabilities. Now, a lot of people knock it because they don't think it looks as pretty as Logic or something else, or Bitwig. Maybe you like the look of some of these other software, and some people think that it's too difficult to get started with. The learning curve is too steep, but in my personal opinion...
So yeah, I mean, most like tier lists are really subjective, but this one is extremely subjective because, like, you know, a lot of the things he's mentioning here are objective things, or I guess they could also be subjective, but it depends how you look at it. They could be faults for other people, you know. The like customization, for instance, can be it can be a hassle. You know, it can be a great thing, but it also can be a hassle too. And then also, you know, the scripting, that's actually pretty cool. That's like one of the cool things about Reaper, in my opinion. That's like one of the things where it's like, okay, you got something going on that other DAWs don't. And then also, you know, you don't even have to pay for it. You can just, it's like nag where I made sure to separate those words. I want to get clip chimped here. FL autosaves too often. Oh, what DAW are people talking about? Was it, Reason maybe? I don't know.
If you can get into it and you can understand how to use it, it is the most...
True, yeah, it is true. Ableton has max rely, which is scripting too. That's a good point. I didn't really think about it that way. Reason doesn't autosave. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and I haven't used it in years and years.
Most advanced DAW currently out there, and it just blows everything away. If something doesn't exist as a feature in Reaper, you can just literally just start programming. The scripting capabilities are ridiculous. You've got Lua script.
I thought he was gonna say I have the guy's email or something. Yeah, max rely is good.
You've got all sorts of JSFX scripts. You can write your own.
Bro, if they added stem separation and what else does Ableton need? Wait, let's come up with like a list of what Ableton needs, guys. Ableton needs stem separation just because everyone else has it already. God, I had like a list of shit. Oh, they need linear multiband compression for like OTT, linear OTT. That'd be sick. What else? I had like a fucking, better spectrum analyzer. I had like a fucking list in my head like a long time ago. I can't think of it right now. No, it doesn't have linear phase OTT. I don't think it has linear EQ either. I don't think you can change, I don't know the way, I can't remember. I don't fuck with like I just use the default keybinds. I haven't really ever tried to fuck with that. Plug data is getting pretty good, yeah. Ableton has the worst export. What do you mean, like time-wise? Or you have ARA and Atmos? That is true, we don't have ARA. Atmos, like... Atmos is never going to be a thing in music. Can we all just agree on that, guys? Atmos is never going to be a thing in music. It'll probably be a thing for like surround systems for like, you know, movies and shit like that, but it's never going to be a thing for music. Let's keep it real here. No one's going to fucking do that. DJ Pain uses Acid Pro. That's insane. Yeah, that's like based and insane. That's insane clown shit. Like, but like a dangerous clown, you know what I mean? Oscilloscope, stereo meter, and better tuner. They did add a better tuner. They added what is it called? Something shift, auto shit. I think it's called like auto shit. Yeah, Atmos is overkill. Yeah, it's the latency thing. Yeah, the pre-delay compensation. I can't even explain that issue anymore. But yeah, if you know, you know. Like I'll try to explain it. Like basically, if you put, can I even explain it? Somebody in the chat could probably explain it better than I can. Something along the lines, if you put like a plugin with delay that will cause delay in front of one that, like, you know, is synced to the grid or something like that, it'll throw it off. Yeah, something like that. I think I explained it okay.
Plugins in Reaper. You don't even need to use Xcode or something else and compile it as a VST plugin. You can literally just start writing code within Reaper. It's that crazy. And all of the advanced...
I'm good on that. I don't want to start writing code in Reaper, dude. I don't want to start writing code at all. I'm good on that, dude. I think I'm far enough into this nerdy world.
It's just mind-boggling how many advanced features there are. I can't even get started with this. On every single plugin, you've got a wet dry knob for.
Right, you know what this is for me? Like, this is like the middle-aged old man, or like the boomer man, where you offer them something and they're like it's almost like they feel like a little sick to their stomach when you offer them. They're like,
Other DAWs don't seem to have that. Every single plugin, you've got a wet dry knob baked right into Reaper. And then you can also press one shortcut, and then you've got the delta.
Okay, that's crazy. Hyping a wet dry knob. That is crazy.
So you can hear the delta. Just natively, like every single plugin, you can hear the delta of what it's doing. How cool is that? Other DAWs just don't seem to have that. Maybe some, but most of them don't have that. What else?
I mean, you can make that in Ableton. Yeah, with like the, what the fuck is it called? I'm fried right now. It's like 5 in the morning. You can make it in Ableton. That's all that matters.
What else have I got written down here? It supports a whole bunch of different plugin formats: Clap, VST, AU.
Rack. Oh my god, dude. I couldn't think of the word rack right now. Yeah, I need to go to sleep pretty soon. Effect rack. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Jesus Christ. I've been up too long.
JS effects, and on Linux, you've got all of the Linux plugins. Now, the render matrix. The render matrix is absolutely game-changing.
Yeah, I've dipped my toes into Reaper. That's about it, though. Like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
For anything where you're bouncing out consecutive regions, stems, all sorts of different combinations of stuff, like it saves so...
Bro, like half this video is about Reaper. Nah, that's not true, but a lot of it is.
So much time in my job as a mastering engineer using the render matrix. Now, I know that in Cubase and some other stuff, you do have some kind of similar features, and you've got like cycle things that you can place there
like some
to do
nerdy ass shit,
work around stuff. But the render matrix in Reaper is the
yeah render matrix coding in Reaper. or coding at all, really.
Bang, there, and it works, and it's just fantastic. It's this grid thing that you can select exactly what you want to render, and this is an advanced feature which advanced users require on a daily basis for their jobs. And without this, you're just going to be sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting for one thing to render, like in Logic, and then you have to do the time selection and render out something else. It's amateur stuff. This is professional level stuff, and it's right in Reaper. And then you've got the routing matrix, and you can route anything to anywhere with this crazy patch.
Bro, the meat riding here is insane, dude.
Stuff. It's just absolutely mind-boggling what you can do there. Now, other DAWs have routing functionality as well, but stuff like Logic, for example, if you want to set up a sidechain thing, you need to like assign it to a bus, and then you've got like...
How long does it go on about Reaper? What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? It goes on for like another 2 minutes, guys.
A fader over here, and then
I don't think they paid him to do this video, dude. I think he just wanted to do this.
You've got to select the bus input on the sidechain, all weird stuff like this. In Reaper, you can just send anything anywhere. Now, I mentioned earlier that Bitwig has really cool parameter modulation stuff, but Reaper has had that for years. You can...
Just realized Reaper gives Scientology vibes. I can kind of see that. It's very culty. Not that there's anything wrong with Reaper per se, but just Reaper users are very, very dedicated to it.
You can do LFOs, random walks, you can do all sorts of stuff. You can even get audio to trigger parameters.
I really don't think he's a shill. I think he's just really hyped on it personally. Like, they definitely, like, dude, they don't even make you pay money to use Reaper. I mean, technically, like, you can buy it, but you don't really have to buy it. Like, they definitely did not pay him. Also, like, I think he just genuinely loves it.
In plugins, it's absolutely mind-boggling what you can do with that.
I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of this section, the Reaper section, he just like shows us his ass. And he's like, that's why I got this Reaper tattoo on my ass.
If you know how to use it. Yeah, it doesn't look as pretty as in Bitwig. It doesn't look as pretty as in some other stuff, but it's there. The functionality is there, and I used it.
Nah, he knows a lot, but I think like the problem with this video is like if you're really gonna like rank every DAW, you need to like sit down and spend time with like the modern version of it for like, you gotta do at least like 20 projects, maybe at the bare minimum, probably like 100 in each one, and that's like a serious task. Nobody's done that. Nobody's gonna be able to do that, you know? Plus, like, you'd have to pay for them too, you know, well, at least Pro Tools. You have to pay for Pro Tools. Yeah, nobody could actually, like, let's be honest, nobody could actually really do this video properly. Like, I can't even really, like, fault him that much on that, but also I do feel like some of the stuff he's, like, unfamiliar with. Like, it's better to just like maybe be a little more honest about your opinions on it. Be like, yeah, I haven't used this in a while, so like, you know, maybe it's changed, you know. He did kind of say that, but he didn't, like, maybe at the beginning, like, just be like, hey guys, no, it's just my opinion, right? You know, just, I don't know, anything, just, you know, make it so people can throw you some bail.
Functionality often, and it's advanced stuff.
Yeah, R2R could maybe do this video,
which advanced users need, and it's all there in Reaper. Reaper is fast, it's solid, it's lightweight. When you download it, it's saying like 50 megabytes. When you download Ableton Live or Pro Tools or one of these...
Well, to be fair, the reason why it's 50 megabytes is because it comes with nothing. It comes with nothing.
Other DAWs, it's like 5-10 gigabytes. And you've got...
That's because they come with fucking libraries, bro. Like, you gotta address these arguments. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta dig into it if you're gonna, like, say this. There's a reason why it's, like, so small. Pause. I don't really care. Yeah, we're gonna read the comments after this. It's probably something. It's probably something.
No hard drive space left at the end of it. Now, some people want to...
Wait, what? Hold on.
Reaper is fast, it's solid, it's lightweight. When you download...
They say 10 gigs. That's what I wanted to hear was the space.
It's saying like 50 megabytes. When you download Ableton Live or Pro Tools or one of these other DAWs, it's like 5-10 gigabytes. And you've got no hard drive space.
That's fucking crazy. How do you not have like at least half a terabyte SSD in 2024? True. I mean, yeah, if you've got all the, you know, Call of Duty games. Hey, this guy definitely doesn't play Call of Duty. You could ask, why the fuck are other DAWs so huge? Well, I mean, you could, but then you'd realize like, oh, because they have sounds and plugins that come with them, like actual, like, more developed devices, you know?
It's left at the end of it. Now, some people want to say that Reaper doesn't look as pretty as some other DAWs. Well, maybe that's true to a certain extent, but you can write your own theme and just change it to be the exact way.
PhD sound asking the real questions here. Why are the drawstrings on his hoodie so fucking long? That's a good question. Like, it seems like they might be going down to the ground.
That you want it to be. And I did that myself, and now I'm very happy with the way that it looks for me personally. The big...
Bro, yeah, that's crazy, because I have a fucking 256 gig USB-C keychain drive. Like, technology is fucked right now, dude. Like, it's so fucked at this point. I have 256 gigs on a fucking keychain.
The thing that I get annoyed by Reaper is the fact that there's so many updates, but they don't really seem to change anything ever. There's all of these trivial
America's not the world. I don't have an unlimited plan, 10 gigabyte. Okay, that's a fair argument, you know. I mean, if you want to say that, like, shit, okay, you know, you might have a decent argument there. Then what do you have on it? Just whatever I got to transfer between computers usually.
fringe updates about we have fixed a bug that if you have some ridiculous MIDI thing that I would never use and connect it to this device that I've never heard of, then there was some glitch and we fixed that. I don't care. Like, there's never been anything interesting that they've introduced for like actual years. I can't even remember the last time that I downloaded the latest version and was like, oh wow, there's something cool that's new and I like it. They're all just trivial things that I don't care about. And when you look at something like Bitwig and you look, oh wow, they've got this really nice page with this modulation stuff, that looks so cool. Why can't Reaper have something pretty and nice and integrated like that? It just seems a tiny bit old school, the way that it works. And so yeah, but you can't always have everything. You can have all of the features in Reaper because it's got everything that you want in terms of features, but it might not have all of the pretty fancy things that you might want from some other DAW. But Reaper, for me, it just has to get an S tier rating.
I like how it was like 999 pros and then like 2 cons.
There is nothing that comes close, in my opinion. Next up, Cakewalk. Now this is quite old software and it used to be a competitor to Logic and Cubase back in the 90s. However, it got bought by one company and then bought by another and passed around all over the place, and now it just seems a bit confused.
Yeah, it's just Cakewalk's a whore, man. It's a little disgusting slut. It's called Cakewalk because it takes the walk of shame.
It's Windows only. So on that ground alone, I would just say that it's failure. How can you make a Windows only software in this day and age? So a failure.
Well, that's kind of crazy. I mean, you could say the same thing about a Mac only software, you know? I mean, obviously, Mac is kind of superior in some ways, not in price. I mean, if you like paying more, sure. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can just toss it out based on that. But I've never used Cakewalk, so I don't fucking know. Logic is Mac only. Yeah, I know. You didn't say that about Logic. Yeah. Why does everyone hate on Pro Tools? Loaded, monthly subscription, has like the beat. Well, I mean, I haven't used it in years, so I mean, take that with a grain of salt. But when I used it, like the shit for making beats was like fucking terrible on it. You know, maybe it's changed since then, so I can't say for certain. Do you believe something of every DAW sounds a little bit different? I can't. I don't know. I'm not even gonna try to answer that. I believe it's probably really close. Really close.
I'm just gonna give it a D rating. Just the mere fact that it's Windows only, and otherwise it just doesn't seem particularly exciting with so much competition in this market. Next up, Nuendo from Steinberg. Now, the thing is,
Bro, this DAW looks fucked, dude. It looks like this, at least the screenshot he's showing right here. It looks like a fucking, like, AutoCAD program. This looks like the type of shit you're gonna use to fucking design, like, your new house or something, or in a fucking video game or something.
Essentially Cubase, plus a bunch of fancy post-production stuff that most people are never going to be using for music, and it's more expensive as a result. So we can just judge this in the same way that we judged Cubase, because it's essentially...
Yeah, I mean, the M chips for Macs are insane. That's like one reason I'd be like, okay, yeah, Macs are a little bit better, but the price is like, come on, dog. It's like 2 or 3 times as much, at least.
The same thing. And if you need those extra features, then they're there and you can pay for them. But
Did you rate Audacity? I don't see it. Audacity should be S tier, though.
I'm just going to give it a B and be done with that because it's essentially Cubase. Samplitude. Now this seems to be another DAW which has all of the normal features that you might expect from a DAW, but it's Windows only. D. Digital.
Yeah, like the performance of Macs is actually fucking insane. I got like a MacBook and bro, dog. Like the battery is fucking nuts. Like with a Windows laptop, bro, like you're editing on that thing for like an hour tops before it dies. But on a MacBook, like probably like 7-8 hours without charging it. It's fucking insane. And then they're also super fast too. Like I'm not even trying to shill for Mac. Like it's just I mean, if I'm using a desktop, like hey, you know, it's cheaper, right? People just think Mac sucks because you can't play games. Yeah, or you can't play most games. Yeah, and then the price.
Performer. Don't get confused and think this is just some throwaway software which is bundled with Motu hardware. No, this is a serious DAW which is used a lot in film scoring and in the TV industry And industries where you need to do a lot of music with actual score.
Bro, I'm not okay. I'm sorry to keep. I'm not turning into Glenn Fricker, bro. Like I'm not. Like I'm using a PC right now. Okay, I'm streaming on a PC right now. Okay, PCs are great. They're fucking great. Just not as laptops.
Scoring, so musical notes, to video. So film stuff, writing to film or writing to TV stuff and stuff like that, where you need to do notes and video. It's incredibly powerful and set up exactly for that sort of workflow. So if that is...
I like how we're not even paying attention to this anymore. We're just like fucking arguing about Mac and PC. But that is true. The Apple updates break everything. But that's due to the way that it's designed, right? The ARM chips.
...thing, then Digital Performer might be for you. However, the feature set that Digital Performer has isn't especially unique. Reaper can pretty much do everything that Digital Performer can do, for example.
I mean, I really think we got to give DP S tier. Because it's DP, you know, double penetration.
But
we're almost done, okay?
Digital Performer is slightly better in terms of its scoring and video capabilities. So if that is your thing, if you do film scoring, for example, or TV sync work stuff to video, then maybe Digital Performer is the right tool for the job. But otherwise, it's just not especially unique. Unless you're a big fan of the chunk system, then it has no exciting features that aren't available in Reaper or elsewhere. So I'm going to give it a very strong C. Traction Waveform. Now their main offer...
I mean, I've never used DP, so like I can't really say. Anybody has anybody here used DP? I really can't think of anything. Like I don't know. I never met somebody that uses Digital Performer ever.
Is completely free, so I'm guessing they're thinking just because it's free, that's going to get people interested in it. I see a bit differently. I need to be interested in something because it's standing out in a crowded, saturated market with players like Cubase, Reaper, Ableton, Bitwig, Logic. We've got these absolutely phenomenal bits of software, and so if something is to attract my attention, it needs to do that on its merit, not merely by being free. Now Traction Waveform doesn't seem to stand out in any particular way to me. Maybe it's a capable DAW, and that's fine.
Yeah, I've never used this one. I'm not even gonna pretend. I'll let you guys come up with the opinions here.
And if you want a free capable DAW, then I guess there's one available here. But there's other DAWs which are much better.
Bro, this guy, I just put this together. This guy's dressed like he's gonna and he kind of is with this is DAW tier list.
And Reaper, for example, it's not free. You have to buy it, but it never.
Like, this is like an act of terrorism, dude.
Really runs out the demo. So if you are a bit on a budget and you want to use the demo of Reaper for a while, I just recommend just grabbing Reaper. So I just don't really see why I'd be so lulled into getting something just because it's free. Now, so on that reason, I'm going to give it a D rating. Ardor is another free DAW, but it's open source and part...
Bro, I don't know if this guy's in the chat right now, but there's this one guy that was always like hyped on Linux in my Discord server, and he would not shut up about Ardor. Like, that's all I know about Ardor is this guy with Linux would not shut the fuck up about it, dude.
The Linux community.
Like he was like the Reaper guy. Like he was like, you know, the way Reaper people are, but he was like that with Ardor.
Which gives it more brownie points in my book personally. However, it's not entirely free if you want the pre-compiled binaries. Unless you want to install it from the source code, which can be a bit more difficult on Mac and Windows. It's maybe a bit easier on Linux, but it's still easiest just to get the pre-compiled binaries like people are normally used to doing. Well, you actually have to pay for that. That said...
What do you mean Reaper people? You know what kind of people you are, dude. You know what kind of people you are. I don't gotta say shit, dude. You know what kind of people you are. Actually, I could elaborate further. I don't know if I should, though.
It's a sort of pay what you want model, so you don't have to pay a lot of money. You could just pay a little bit of money and get the pre-compiled binaries there. But in a world where you've got other amazing DAWs which you can use even on Linux. So if you're...
Bro, I'm not a racist, dude. What the fuck, dude? I'm an ableist. Come on, get it right. Now, Reaper's good. Reaper's good, but there's definitely a certain type of person that really likes Reaper.
A Linux user, you've got Reaper, you've got Bitwig. There's not really any reason why you would necessarily need to use Ardor, in my personal opinion, especially not for professional work. It doesn't seem to be as capable as some of the commercial offerings. So that seems to be the case with many bits of Linux software. It's often great and really cool for beginner or intermediate users, but the commercial offerings are necessary for more advanced or professional users in many cases, and it's no exception here. So I would recommend, even if you're on Linux, although...
Crazy when you have a melody in your head, but you have to learn coding to lay it down. Reaper people, am I right? All right, I'm sorry. No, it does seem good. It's just not for me. My OCD, I've got it under control. I don't really want to. I'm not letting my OCD focus on Reaper. You know, I'm gonna put it to use on something else.
Ardor's also available for Mac and Windows. I would not be that enticed in Ardor personally. I would give it a D rating. Harrison Mixbus. Now this piece of software is modeled
I thought he was gonna say piece of shit. Oh, that would have been so good. Now this piece of shit.
to look like an analog mixing console, and everything in it looks kind of analog and cool. Now it's very pretty and it's sort of capable as well as a DAW. There's nothing particularly wrong with it, but in my personal opinion, the emphasis is on a skeuomorphic approach, interface design, and making stuff look pretty and vintage and analog. And in my personal opinion, that's not really what I need as a professional audio engineer. I need functionality. I need features that are going to be time saving, effective, fast, accurate, and stuff like this. I don't want to like twiddle vintage looking knobs and stuff like that. So it's sort of a bit of a gimmick. It does have Atmos support in there, but if you want the Atmos support, you got to buy the more expensive version. It's pretty, but maybe it's just a pretty face. Gonna give it a D rating.
Oh my god, crazy. I did not expect that. Bro, sometimes I really wonder if this is rage bait. I mean, there's some good choices here, but also some insane choices here. Like Reaper at S tier. I don't know. It's hard to say because I feel like price was not really included properly.
It's a pretty face. Gonna give it a D rating. UAD Luna. Now this is going to work very tightly with the Apollo hardware, so all of the UAD stuff is going to come together very nicely and tightly in a UAD ecosystem. Now I guess it looks a tiny bit similar to the Harrison Mixbus approach of making skeuomorphic interfaces, vintage old looking stuff that you can twiddle knobs and have pretty looking interfaces and stuff like that. Again, I'm not really a fan of pretty looking interfaces for the sake of them being pretty. I'm more into functionality and precision and productivity, speed, accessibility, shortcuts, advanced features, proper rendering support, and all of those more professional level stuff that you find in Reaper and this is built into into the fabric of Reaper. I'm not really sure if it's got that as its main focus. This seems to just be this novelty value, pretty into.
I'm just trying to get through this video. We're almost done. We're at the end here. He didn't put Audacity in here, bro. Audacity's a full-fledged DAW now, dude. Come on.
Face twiddle knob type thing again with expensive plugins and expensive hardware when you can get the same kind of sound using free stuff or less expensive stuff. So for me, it doesn't really impress me that much. It's not really the kind of thing that I look for in a professional sequencer for serious work. This is something that is maybe for a beginner or an intermediate hobbyist to Twitter.
Bro, DJ Payne is probably pissed that he didn't mention Acid Pro. Bro, the crazy thing is when I was starting out producing, Acid Pro was one of the options. Like, that was actually like a legitimate consideration. Like, I was like, oh, that one sounds cool. I like Acid Pro. Okay, yeah. Thought about it. And then, like, my friend, like, even this was like 10 to 15-ish years ago. Even my friend was like, oh, that one's like kind of old. Like, so it's crazy to me that DJ Payne uses Acid Pro right now.
Knobs and have some fun and look at some pretty vintage looking pictures. So in that respect, I would say I would give it a D rating. Now, let me know what you think of my ratings. If there's any DAWs you think.
Dude, that makes me think it's rage bait. Now let me know what you think of my ratings. Come on, down in the comments. Come on, you know you want to. You know you fucking want to. Don't you fucking hate me?
That I've missed on this list. And the first people to tell me what these records are here can win a secret special prize.
Ooh. Alright, guys. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Let's see what the comments say. Dude, these comments are going to be insane if he hasn't deleted them. There's 1,032, so he probably didn't delete that many. I mean, obviously, this is the real take, you know, but that's not fun. This isn't fun. That's not fun. Okay, let's see. No, that's not fun. I want something hateful. Hate. Yeah, I've done videos like this before, and then I realized it's impossible to actually like properly rate shit like this. So like you're better off just not doing it. You delete the negative comments. Yeah, but I don't know if he could really delete all of them on this one. This one's insane. Sorry, but I cannot take this ranking seriously. Don't like the Cubase UI, rates a B. Don't like the Reaper UI, but rates it S tier. I'm an audio engineer, not a coder. Most audio engineers just want to get on with the job in the most efficient manner possible. I gotta agree with that personally. That's kind of the reason why I don't like Reaper. I mean, not that, you know, obviously you like it, that's fine. Like, it's just, I don't want to have to customize all my shit. Like, I just want it to work. I just want it to work. I just want it to work, and I just want to do my shit. Because it's PC only, it's D tier, while Logic, Apple only is B tier. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Ableton, I can't even like I can't even properly give them like S tier because like, bro, like they've dropped the ball so much. Let's see. I have a dozen DAWs to open Reason 5 when seeking inspiration. I want to get inside of that guy's mind. I came here for the comments. I wasn't disappointed. Absolute weapon. This type of video should be called entitled I am in love with, and it's just an explanation of why you do love the DAW you use. No reasonable comparison. So this is just unprofessional, not the way a professional comparison is done. Oof. Painful. Okay, this is actually good. In my opinion, there is no best or favorite DAW. There's just a DAW that you're stuck in. I'm not gonna lie, the Cubase update has been pretty good. Yeah, I agree. Where are the hate comments, bro? Where are like the real hate comments? Wait, hold on. Guys, I know how we get the real hate comments. There we go. Yep, true. This guy's speaking truth. How are we bringing up FL's price? Ableton's way more expensive in the long term. There's nothing that bad here. Maybe he is deleting them. Okay, here we go. My man's for real said you can't mix in live or master in FL. Yeah, that was kind of a hot take. Some of these are fucking... Dude, some of these people are writing essays. Now, rating this is stupid. That's why we're watching it. Come on. Come on, bro. Maybe it's capable. Tell me you didn't use the software without me telling you didn't use the software. Ooh. Dude, people are mad as hell. Cubase in B because it's ugly equals moron. Oh my god. I think this is very genuine. Just one really nice comment. Yeah, I was expecting some crazier shit here. Yeah, he didn't rate GarageBand. That's kind of trash. Yeah, he didn't really use all these DAWs to like the same level, you know? That's kind of a... I mean, bro, there's no way. Like, I mean, there's no way to really do this video, for being honest. That's why like tier list with something this ambitious, or like you're out of your mind to try that. Ooh, oh man, you haven't got the slightest clue what you're talking about. Rewire for Reason has been discontinued for many years. You say no one's going to use Reason for mixing and mastering, yet there are many people who use Reason only for mixing and mastering these days because it has a built-in SSL console, which you didn't even mention. This, plus you're mentioning that people would be using Rewire, though it has been discontinued for many years. It shows you haven't done any research for this video and you're just talking BS. Yeah. Ooh, bro, like... You're just asking for it with this sort of video, man. Is this some type of satire? Here we go again. Dude. Bro, people know, dude. People know. I mean, there's some mean comments, but I would think it would be way crazier than this. Okay.